Welcome to the Crunch Gambling channel here on YouTube. My name is Crunch. That's my gamer name, my gambling name, just the nickname I've been called for many years. So I decided to start this channel for a couple of reasons. One, I have a lot of friends that, I personally like to gamble. I like to go to the casino. I like to risk my luck. I get a lot of excitement from it. And it's a thrill every time I walk through the door. And I love the atmosphere. And within a few miles of my house, there's 3 casinos. And I don't do much else. I work and I like to go entertain myself and risk my luck. And over the years, I've gone on YouTube. I've researched, how to have more of an advantage. When I gamble, just to make it a little more fun and challenging for myself. So when I go to the casino, a lot of times I find myself going there on my own, and 50% of the time I like to just observe and watch how other people gamble and other people take risks. I also, I like to hang out in the high limit rooms. For me, it's a little more exciting. In the main area of a casino, they usually have like the lower limit slots. A blackjack, that's $5 a hand minimum. Whereas I am fortunate enough to be able to take a little more risk. So what happens is, I go to a casino and my wife always asks me, why don't you ask this friend to go? Why don't you ask that friend to go? I'll give them a call and say, hey, you want to go to a casino? And the first thing out of their mouth is, nah, I don't like to go because I always lose my money. I wind up going on my own. However, it gave me the idea of and I did speak to a lot of my friends and I said, hey, if I wind up coming up with like short YouTube videos on just going over the basics to try to give you an advantage or some sort of advantage when you walk into a casino and you went in there with confidence and you knew what you were doing, because a lot of times, you walk in and you look at a craps table, or you look at, a baccarat table, or you look at the slot machines and you think, oh, I put money in, I just press a button and risk my luck. Well, yeah, basically. However, if you know what to look for, like for example, getting into a craps game, very simple. There's nothing complicated about it. And I am going to show you how to understand it, from placing your first pass or don't pass bet. I want to explain how to do the basics of gambling, at least for now, to get you more comfortable, to make you more aware when you're at a casino. From a casino's perspective, they love people that go there and have no clue. Because one, they tend to lose all their money, they go home. What they don't like, and I'm sure you've heard it over the years, watching videos, people that say count cards. The reason why they frown upon card counting is because usually that player winds up playing a smaller amount and winds up taking the casino for a larger amount of money, and casinos do not like that. However, what I would like to go over are the people that don't know anything. I want to be able to give you the courage and the strength, win or lose. I'm not going to say, follow what I say and you're going to go to a casino and you're going to win a lot of money. I would say 50% of the time you might win something, 50% of the time you might lose everything. That brings me to my first point, and that would be only gamble for entertainment purposes and only gamble if you can afford to lose money. Like, for example, whenever I go to a casino, I would usually start out with my own money. Let's say we start out clean. I start out with my own money. I take $500, right? Now that's my money. I've already decided the moment I take it out from the ATM that if I lose it all, perfectly fine. I had a great night. It was entertaining. I had fun. I might have won a little. I gave it back. I might have, lost it all, and I'm fine. So that's my mentality when I go to the casino. When I go to the casino with the 500, that is my limit to lose. Once I lose it, if I lose it, I leave. And I'm fine with that. I can afford to lose it. I'm fine. Some people maybe $100, some people maybe $50. Some people maybe 1,000, 2,000. Go for it. I wish you the best, and I hope you win. So, with that said, I'll go to the casino with the $500, and my main goal in the beginning is to play games, whether it's a table game, craps, baccarat, blackjack, roulette, bubble craps, or even slot machines. I tend to take my time. I don't rush into something, and I like to get there and get a feel. And the way I feel out the casino is if I decide I'm going to play slots, I would walk around almost the entire floor looking at the slot machines that I like to play. And most of those machines they have huge screens, they got lots of lights, they got lots of bells ringing, they got music playing, they got all sorts of stuff, and it's like very appealing to our senses. So I have a set of machines that I like to play, whether it's Dragon Link, Lightning Link, the hot flaming pots, the coin trios. I like those machines. Now, I don't just walk up to any random one of those. I would prefer to look at the machine. And if there's multiple machines, like if there's 4, like say hot flaming pot machines next to each other, if you know what I'm talking about, if you've seen them, they'll have 3 pots on each screen. And each one is its own feature. And so what I tend to focus on is I would walk around and look at these machines and I would compare. Because if you look at the hot flaming pots, there's telltale signs that the machine's been played for a while and a feature has not been given. I would say it hasn't been given. Or if you want to think about it in other terms, like say for instance you have a seesaw. Now when they turn the machine on and get it all ready, you're at this point. As you play a certain machine, you kind of get to the middle of the seesaw, and you haven't hit a feature yet, but you've played about 100, 200 spins. And now you're getting frustrated, all right? Now you keep playing to try to chase that, jackpot, whether it's a grand jackpot, a major, a minor, a mini, so what's going to happen is, you're going to keep playing and that scale is going to start tilting, all right, because of the mathematics behind the scenes. And we'll go into that on another video. So what's going to happen is you're going to keep playing and putting in money and chasing it, and then finally you're going to run out of money. And you're at this point, and you're like, damn it, I didn't get a feature, I didn't win money, I lost everything, I'm done. All right, so you leave. Now the next person walks up to that machine, and it's already at this point. So whether it's the next spin, the next 100 spins, this person is most likely going to hit the feature. And now if you look at on the hot flaming pot machine, you have the 3 pots. Underneath them, as you play, and what are they called? Those, I don't want to say balls, but they're dumplings. All right, so when the dumplings fall on the screen, if it's a green dumpling, it goes in a green pot. If it's a red dumpling, it goes in a red pot. And I forgot the center color. But if it's one of those dumplings, it goes in the center pot. Under each pot, there's signs to let you show that it's been played, but it hasn't hit that particular feature yet. And there's little like heat dials that you can notice next time you go to a casino, that if they're all the way to the left, then somebody pretty much hit that feature already not too long ago. So once it gets hit, it resets. So now, you got all these dials, and now you just left the machine, and those dials are pinned to the right, and those pots are huge because the pot's going to grow. As the dial turns, the pots get bigger. Aesthetically, triggers something in our minds. In reality, because I didn't program the slot machine, it may or may not mean anything. But from my experience, I tend to play the machines that other people have already pumped all that money into and left, probably losing all their money, because this happened to me. And then I'll go play, I'll put in, $100, $200, and I'll play like a higher. I won't play like the bare minimum. I usually prefer to play 10 cents denomination, maybe 50 cents. And then I'll usually play not the lowest of the bet, but maybe the next one to the lowest, or the next one over. And then what'll happen is, a lot of the time, I tend to get into a feature, and I tend to win some decent money because my bet was higher. So I get more money back. So that's how I tend to have an advantage over the slot machines, for example. And in another video, I'll go over the different slot machines and what to look for. So stay tuned for that video coming up. Before I go any further, make sure you subscribe, because I'm going to give you all the tips that I can give you. And if you go to the casino with me, there are people that, I go there pretty much every Friday night or Saturday night. And I meet a bunch of people over at the nightclub that they have at this one particular casino up the street. And I'm constantly, spending time with my wife and then going to play, and I'll come back and I'll show everybody, hey, I bet, $40 on this machine, and here's a $1,000 ticket. And they're like, holy crap, how'd that happen? Can you show me? And then I'll go out for another round and look for a particular machine. I'll play that machine and come back and hopefully win. So the point I'm trying to make is, I try to go in and play a game where I feel like I have more of an advantage. Psychologically, I feel like I have an advantage. Do I? I don't know. I convince myself I do. Makes it more exciting for me. I have fun. Now, the point I'm trying to make is, try to not play with your own money that you take out. So once you play with it, hopefully you have an advantage and you'll win. Now you can take that $500, put it back in your pocket, and now whatever money you just won, hey, you get to have fun for the rest of the night. The pressure's off. You're not worried about losing your own money in your pocket. Now you have some money that you had won, which is still considered yours, but it's like, to me, in my mind, it's like an unexpected sum of money that just showed up in my hand. So for me, I like to call it casino money. I like to play with house money. And for me, playing with house money is what makes my experience gambling so much fun. So with that said, I'm going to end this intro video. I'm going to hope that you subscribe to my channel because I definitely need followers. And there's a lot of more videos to come. And in case you were wondering, we do have merch. I do have hats, sweatshirts, t-shirts, everything to support the channel. And I got some really cool designs, and you can check that out on crunchgambling.com. There's a section for apparel. Just click on it. And if you do purchase something and you do get something, wear it, take a picture, send it to me, hashtag me, whatever it is. I'm still learning how to do the social media game. And then I'll post it on Instagram, link it to our Crunch Gambling account, and show you off. I think that's about it for now. I appreciate you listening to this video, and stay tuned for the next one. Thank you.